billion, which the whole point was to stimulate economic activity nga in the US, in Germany, in Japan, etc., in the UK. The effect was to drive down interest rates. Ang naka-chart dito is interest rates since the mid-1980s. Ang papansin natin dito, yung decline in interest rates, and right now, interest rates in the Philippines are the lowest in the recorded history. Mahalaga yung point na yan. Interest rates in the Philippines right now are the lowest in recorded history. Hindi ako sure about interest rates globally, pero yung isang key benchmark rate, yung LIBOR, from about 5.5% noong 2008, nung binuwas yung 3.5 trillion in the global economy, from over 5% interest, naging 0.2% interest na lang. So mahalaga yan. Bakit? Kasi may direct correlation yung pagbagsak ng interest rate sa pag-stimulate ng real estate and construction in the Philippines. Yung bar chart na to, huwag masyado kasi yung details, it essentially measures yung increase in debt in the country. Bakit yun? Ang dapat ma-highlight dito, debt with the decreasing interest rates, lumobo yung debt in the Philippines. So papansin nyo, kung gaano ka-steep yung bagsak ng interest rates, ganoon din ka-steep yung pagtaas ng debt dito sa Pilipinas. So yung latter part, yung last few years dyan, nilang boom years ng Pilipinas. Next slide please. In particular, it's very important to highlight, real estate loan growth has been phenomenal. It's been the fastest growing debt component in Philippine debt in the last decade. From about 0.2% in 2002, after 5 years, nag-average siya 1.5%. Over the next 5 years, yung time ng quantitative easing, 3.5 trillion, global glut, lumaki ng 22% yung loans, growth in loans annually sa Pilipinas to the first 11 months of 2030 to 21.8%. So, important niya kasi yun ang pieces ng puzzle natin. So, nagmumula yung real estate and construction boom ng Pilipinas, which will drive economic growth, na naging factor sa paying part natin ng mga teams tsaka ng cap sa bansa. It's because of cheap interest rates. Ngayon, we think that's important because that's one part of the story. Totoo naman, who's been buying? OFWs naman talaga. Who's been buying? BPOs din. Pero, yung pero doon, they've been able to buy because on two counts. One, naging mura to buy property kasi mababa interest rates. And even for the corporations, naging mura to produce kasi murang interest rates. So, kumbaga may supply side stimulus siya sa mga buyers and leasers ng property kasi mababa interest rates. May may demand side stimulus doon at may supply side effect na it's become cheaper for real estate firms, construction companies to raise capital to increase in demand. At yun ang parang virtuous cycle. In effect, the last 3 years, ang sesya ng Pilipinas, because nga of low interest rates, ang daming nag-boost na pera sa real estate and construction, ang daming bumibili for the moment ng OFWs and BPO, business process outsourcing firms, giving the illusion na ng prosperity. Next slide. Paliwanag naman ako yung problem doon kasi some might say, what's wrong with that? We'll explain later what's wrong with that. Pero yung pasado lang, I think important to highlight. At the same time, as we've been seeing that big increase in growth, etc., rising prices have also been rising. The rise in the price of rice over a year, as of December 2013, rice became 6 pesos more expensive. So all products, example lang, yung LPG increased 150 to 170 pesos per 11 kilogram na. Yung power rates, again, nahadlangan lang by the protest, pero the 3 pesos 44 increase in generation charge will translate into 4 pesos 15 increase per kilowatt hour. Yung water rates, MRT, LRT, again, may banta na to increase that, and it's only actually been the protest by the mass movement, the outcry by the public, that has stopped the increases in water rates and MRT, LRT. So bakit ang i-sidebar na natin kasi details in the paper naman, pero to highlight din, for a time, medyo nasilaw din yung yung public din sa fantastic economic growth, but actually, in terms of rising burdens for the people, they're facing lower wages and they're facing higher prices. So we think that's the more relevant points to highlight. Ano yung problema sa real estate and construction? Okay lang dyan. Next slide. Okay, nawala. Dito na lang muna. What's the problem with real estate and construction? Nawala yung slide. Two things have to be highlighted in terms of real estate and construction. One is, they're a very small part of the economy. So, phenomenal yung growth sa real estate and construction, pero paano magiging inclusive, o paano makikinabang ang marami sa growth na yan? Makikinabang sa in two ways. One, if it generates jobs. Secondly, if mas-stimulate yung buong economy. That hasn't happened dun sa real estate and construction. Bakit? Kasi, actually numbers na makikita doon. In terms of employment sa Philippines, yung real estate and construction were only 8% ng total employment in the country. So, ang liit-liit niyan, in effect, any booming real estate and construction only affects 8% of the jobs in the country. Pero more than that, ito yung I think, biggest problem sa real estate, nakakoncentrate siya sa Metro Manila, sa Central Luzon, at sa Calabarzon. 74% ng lahat ng real estate is just in the NCR and the neighboring regions. Almost 50% of all construction is just in NCR and the neighboring regions. So problem yan. So ay magtatanong, bakit hindi inclusive ang growth? Hindi inclusive ang growth kasi yung naging growing sectors na nakakonsentrate dito sa NCR, ang konti ng employment in general, at yung operations pa nila nakakonsentrate dito sa NCR, sa Central Zone, at sa Calabarzon. Second important point, okay naman sana real estate construction if it was happening at the same time as agriculture and manufacturing were growing. Key problem sa real estate construction, mahina yung linkages nila. Lutang siya. Yung real estate, sa latest data ng NSCB, yung real estate has the lowest linkages among all the major sectors of the economy. And ibig sabihin nun, kahit nagbo-boom yung real estate, ang hina ng integration niya, wala naman siyang inputs from other sectors, hindi na-stimulate yung other sectors of the economy. In the same manner, kahit nag-boom ang real estate, hindi siya nag-contribute to other sectors in the economy. Kasi mahina ang forward linkages niya. Ngayon, napakalaking point niyo kasi we like agriculture and manufacturing because they're integrated with the rest of the economy. Kung booming agriculture mo, yung products mo, pupunta sa industry. Diba? Canned goods yan, pagkain, whatever, agricultural materials. Kung nag-boom manufacturing mo, yung backward linkage mo, you're getting inputs from agriculture, you're hiring a lot of people, yung outputs mo goes into developing local industry, whether it's steel, electronics, or whatever dun sa gusto mo develop. So wala yun sa real estate and construction, which are the lowest backward and forward linkages of any sector in the economy. So actually, yun ang last piece of the puzzle natin kung bakit narrow yung economic growth from the booming sectors at bakit shallow siya. Narrow siya because they're a small part of the economy, they're a small part of employment, they're concentrated in the national capital region, and they have no linkages either forward or backwards economy. So ano naman ang magandang headline figure mo na 7.4%, hindi niya actually pinapunlad yung ilalim. Ang PAW, yung economic growth na yan in short. Pero, wala pa. Wala yung slides eh. Narrow and shallow na economic growth natin, may additional problem, artificial siya and unsustainable. Bakit siya artificial? Because hindi forevermore mananatiling mababa yung interest rates. In-announce na the last couple of months, in-announce na United States Federal Reserve, mag-i-ease back na sila sa kanilang ease back on quantitative easing. Nag-tapering. Dahil EQE, easing ng quantitative easing, tapering ang tawag nila. Ang effect nun, yung pag-boost ng liquidity sa global economy, mababawasan na. Kung mabawasan yung pag-boost ng pera sa global economy, interest rate will start rising. At key point doon, kung nalala nyo kanina, na-highlight natin, two reasons why interest rates have driven the listed construction sector is because they've driven demand and they've driven production. Once interest rates rise, magkakadamanan na ang PAW yung demand na yan. Because once it's more expensive, magkaka-roll back dun sa demand, magkaka-roll back sa production, yung good times na yan ay patapos na. And actually, may initial data pa lang yung government na that, yung slowdown in growth na is already happening right now. Only from the announcement nga ng sabi ng Federal Reserve, bababa ng interest rates. So that's a key point about the unsustainability ng growth ng Pilipinas. Because driven siya by real estate and construction, ultimately dahil sa low interest rates, pag tumaas yung interest rates na yan, ano yung pampalit mo na demand doon? Second point, second part of the story, ano pang palit mo in terms of production? Kaya na-raise yung point yun about napakababa ng forward and backward linkages ng real estate and construction is because yung boom times natin ngayon did not create domestic capacity. Sa example lang dyan, yung